Standard 9, Subject Geography, Chapter number 5, Precipitation. Because of the upward movement of air, these water droplets go to a higher altitude. They are unable to come down because the air is constantly moving upwards. So it takes the water droplets as well upwards. The clouds that are having water, they are also carried upwards. Here, at higher altitudes, solidification of these droplets occur and hailstones are formed. These hailstones are larger than ice, larger than snowflakes, and they are very hard. As hailstones are heavy, they fall towards the ground, but because of the frequent upward flow of air, they are repeatedly taken upwards. The hailstones want to come down because of the gravitational force, but the upward movement of air again takes them back upwards. Then what happens? Here a new layer of snow encapsulates the hail. Encapsulates means covers. So a new layer of snow covers the hailstones, and this happens quite a few times. This process keeps on getting repeated for a few times. Hence, concentric layers are formed while the hail grows in size. Concentric layers means if you take any marble, if you cover it up with a layer of grease, that is called as the first layer. Then you cover the greased marble with some shreds of paper, that is called as the second layer. So these are concentric layers. The first concentric layer covering the surface of the marble was of the grease. The second layer of the second concentric layer is of the mashed paper. Then again you can apply glue on this paper and stick a third layer of paper. That will be called as the third concentric layer. So like this keeps on happening on the hails, and the hailstones grow in size. These big heavy hailstones fall rapidly means very fast, to the ground because of gravity. Now the hailstones have become so strong that even though the upward movement of hot air is present, still they are able to resist the upward movement of the air, and because of their weight they are able to come down towards the earth at greater speeds because of the gravitational pull. We call the precipitation of this type as hail showers. The hailstones fall in the form of showers. Because of hail, crops may get destroyed and loss of life and property may also occur. How loss of life? Sometimes the hailstones are so big and they come down so fast that if they hit on our eye or head, the person may die. Next, hails occur in summers in India. See, India is able to see hailstones in summer season. Africa and in some parts of Southeast Asia also experience such a phenomenon. Hails do not occur in equatorial areas. Equatorial areas means the areas which are around the equator, the imaginary line that runs through the center of the earth horizontally. Why do they not occur in equatorial areas? Because of the heat in the atmosphere. Where the heat in the atmosphere is so much that the hails, when they try to come down, when they try to fall down, they melt in the atmosphere itself. Hails do not occur in cold zones because of lack of upward flow. Hails also don't occur in areas which are colder regions because there is no upward movement of hot air. Now, they are telling us to try this, how to make a rain. We need to gather the following materials. This is like an experiment that we can do in the class. Gather the following materials: a vertical glass container with a metal lid, nail, hammer, hot water, ice cubes and handful of salt. If we take the container with the metal lid and remove the lid, we need to hit the lid on the upper side at a number of points with a nail and the hammer. We need to take care that the lid does not get any holes because of this. There should not be any holes. It should just be a hit. We just need to make dents without making holes. Now we need to fill 1/3 of this container with steamed water. Steamed water, not boiled water. How do we steam water? If you take water in a bowl, keep it in the pressure cooker, add a little water in the pressure cooker outside the bowl and switch on the gas, close the lid, the water inside the bowl gets steamed. It does not get boiled. Now, if we put the lid on the container and close it tightly, taking care that the steam in the container does not go out, we now need to put ice cubes on the lid, handful of rock salt and little water. Rock salt, not sea salt, because the properties of both the salts are different. Now if we observe the container, we can see that there is rain occurring inside the container. Though it takes around 10 to 15 minutes for the rain to occur, it does happen. And how does this happen? What is the reason behind this? As the vapor in the container is light, it travels upwards. As the lid is tightly closed, the vapor cannot escape. Now, what they are telling us, steamed water is only the steam we have to collect. When the water gets boiled and the water vapor comes out, that steam we have to collect in the container. That is what is steamed water. As the lid is tightly closed, the vapor cannot escape. And because of the ice cubes above the lid, condensation of the vapor occurs. The vapors, they are trying to go out, but what they are meeting whom? They are meeting the ice cold effect. So they condense immediately, and consequently water droplets are formed from the vapor. They accumulate on the inner side of the lid, but because of the dents on the lid, because of the punches on the lid, these droplets gather together and fall down as drops. During rainfall, similar process happens in the atmosphere, in the sky, on a large scale. That is why we experience rainfall. Now this experiment will not come to you in the exams. It is not necessary to know about this, but it is good to know, some information that is good to know. We will now talk about rainfall. We generally get water in the form of rainfall. That is the only source of fresh water for us. Even the ponds, lakes, rivers, whatever fresh water they are having, they are either from the source of the rivers, from the mountains, or the rainfall. The temperature of the air with water vapor reduces when it goes higher. So when any air containing water vapor goes higher, the temperature reduces. And when the temperature reduces, like we saw in the experiment, what happens? Condensation of the vapor occurs. Clouds form when the condensed water droplets and dust particles accumulate. So what are clouds? Clouds are nothing but a combination of condensed water droplets and dust particles. The water droplets increase in size. When small minute water droplets, they combine with each other, they increase in size. When they cannot float in the air anymore, when they have become heavier, because of their weight, they come down as rainfall. Now, convectional rainfall. Now, there are different types of rainfalls. This will again be asked as either definition or differentiate between, or write short notes on. Depending on the type of the question, you need to be ready with the answer. And you can be ready with the answer only if you have understood the concept. Proceeding with convectional rainfall, in equatorial areas, in areas that are present or lying around the equator on the earth, the surface gets heated because of the sun's heat, and the air near it also gets heated. Understand that the areas that are present around the equatorial region, around the equator, they are nearer to the sun than the areas that are towards the North Pole or the South Pole. Why? Because the earth is not exactly a round ball. It is flat, a little flat from top and bottom, as if someone has pressed it so that there is a bulge in the center.